watch out what you say if there's an Alexa device or a Siri device or anything like that nearby. I probably just activated all of those in your house right now. Our technology expert Dave Hatter joins us live this morning to explain. And Dave, really, first of all, thank you for joining us as always. You can't throw a rock without hitting one of these devices anymore. I mean, they really are sort of all over the place.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Bob. And you're right. There's about 76 million of them out there by the most recent count I could find. So, yeah, there are a lot of people. And you may have kicked a few off by saying that, which is kind of the point of this story, right? These things are listening because they have to listen. They listen for a wake word or a hot word, something like Hey Siri or Hey Cortana or OK Google. And then they activate and record whatever you say to try to carry out your command.
How often are these kinds of things happening? Do you know, is it beyond just what a person might say in the house? If I have the radio on or the TV on, are there phrases being picked up like we just suggested here that might not even be Hey Siri or Hey Alexa? And again, I'm sorry, I've just made all those things beep in your homes right now. People who are watching, that's my bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, Bob, you're exactly right. A new study recently came out and found that about 1,000 words will potentially kick these things off. They did a study where they played 125 hours of TV and news broadcasts and found by looking at the devices, lights turning on, network traffic, and then stuff showing up in people's accounts, that these devices will erroneously activate. They found often as many times as 19 times a day on average. Because, for example, with Cortana, Montana sounds very much like that, right?
Sure.
Election sounds similar to Alexa. And when they build these devices, they have to err on the side of it being too frequently listening than not frequently enough, because it would be frustrating and people wouldn't use it, right? So, I mean, they're programmed to be flexible. They have to deal with people's dialects, you know, different ways people say words. So this study has proven, again, there's about 1,000 words that will kick these things off. So if you have one, you should at least understand it may be activating and you don't realize that it is.
You know, most of these companies are going to say, well, they're not listening all the time. You know, we're not recording things and all that sort of stuff. But don't they almost have to be listening all the time in order to catch the magic phrase when it happens?
They really do. I mean, they technically are listening all the time, but they're not recording all the time and sending that information back. Now, one of the things I thought was really interesting from this study is, again, you have your TV on, you have a radio on, you have the news on. One of these words that's similar to the wake word comes on, it turns on, and they found that in some cases up to 43 seconds are recorded and sent off to Amazon or Google or Apple or whichever virtual assistant or digital assistant you're using. Now think about that. You can capture a lot of information in 43 seconds. Evidence has been captured from these things and used in crimes. There's a law firm in England that warned their attorneys to not use these devices anywhere where they're working, and that's why I think this story is important. Many people are working from home now. They might be listening to the radio during the day, watching you on Channel 12. This thing is kicking off. Sensitive work information, you know, lawsuit type information could be captured. So I just think it's important for people to understand these things may be capturing stuff and they have no idea they're being triggered. And this study proves that.
Well, and in addition to some of the information they may get, they may catch some sort of embarrassing things that frankly you don't really want recorded out there, right?
Yeah, and that's happened as well. Let's just say intimate moments have been captured by these things. All kinds of stuff have been captured, again, because they will inadvertently be triggered based on something that happens to be on TV or on the radio, or that just someone says in the house, a word that's similar. Like I say, this study found 1,000 phrases. So, you know, if you just find that they're too convenient and you really want to keep one around, I'm sure, as you can guess, Bob, being the tinfoil hat guy I am, I don't use any of these things.
I had a feeling.
You know, yeah, shocker, I know, right? You know, you can on most of these, if you have the physical device, set it up so that it will only activate if you hit the button. But of course, that significantly reduces the convenience factor, right? You want that Star Trek type thing where you can just talk to it and have it do whatever you want. So again, they're not for me. I'm not telling folks they should never have one, but you need to understand the privacy and security implications when you have these devices. And, you know, as time wears on and they get better at being able to recognize the actual wake word versus, you know, what I would call these noise words to trigger it, I might be more likely to get one in the future. But at this point, they're not for me.
I'll tell you what, Dave, you're our tech guy, you're our guru, our expert, and yet still I see you at home like churning your own butter and like grinding your own corn and stuff. like you have no technology at home or something.
Hey. Hey, you know, I'm not exactly a Luddite, but yeah, I'm not exactly connected to any more of this stuff than I have to, because a lot of it is really insecure and it has these unintended consequences, right? They behave in ways, you know, this stuff is still fairly new. So I just like to encourage people, understand the potential consequences and ramifications, and then, you know, make a smart decision.
Dave, we love the information. We love having you on. Thanks for coming out today, buddy. We appreciate it.
Always my pleasure, Bob. Thank you.
All right, Sheila.